All right, guys, this is exciting because VR golf just got a whole lot better and a whole lot more affordable, and it's all because of this. And I'm gonna tell you why right now. All right, let me quickly bring you up to speed on how we got here, because even though we've been testing VR golf here on the channel for quite a while, I would imagine there are a lot of people who are just discovering it for the first time, especially at this new, really attractive price point. But like I said, let's rewind and for some context, talk a little bit quickly about how we got here. So our first experience with VR golf was a review we had done here on the channel using what at the time was called the Oculus. Now I guess you'd refer it to as the Meta Quest 2. And we were pretty impressed with the overall experience. Now we've got not only a lot more options, but we also have a dramatic improvement in the gameplay and the graphics. Then fast forward to earlier this year, we had the release of the Meta Quest 3. And I'll link to that video. We did an entire side-by-side comparison so you could see how far the graphics had come, leveraging the better processing power and resolution that's built into the brand new Meta Quest 3. With this, we got to see games like Golf Plus VR have the ability to create even more realistic looking and feeling golf courses. Now, the only downfall to this is being a little bit more of an advanced unit. The Meta Quest 3 also came with a higher price tag, making it a little bit less affordable, especially for people who are just starting out with VR and VR golf. That brings us to right now, where we just had the release of the Meta Quest 3S. And to me, S might stand for sweet spot, because this really feels like it falls right in that sweet spot of both performance and price. The Meta Quest 3S shares a lot of the same form factor, specifications, and performance that you get out of the 3, but it comes in at about half the price. Now, my goal of this video is really to show people, especially a lot of first timers who are just first getting into VR golf now or wanting to experience it, how they can do that at a really affordable price. So with that in mind, I'm not gonna do a huge deep dive into the specification difference between these two units. There are plenty of resources out there already if you wanna look those up and kind of really dig in on your own. Instead, what I'll do though is hit some of the highlights and some of the most important specs as it relates to these two units. And the first thing that's important to highlight is both the 3 and the 3S share the exact same processor. And why that's important, speaking specifically about VR golf, is you still get to leverage that processor for that smooth gameplay and for that great overall realistic experience. Additionally, when it comes to the kind of comfort of use, they both weigh almost exactly the same. In fact, I believe they're within 1 gram of each other. However, the 3S is a little bit more bulky. It does stick out a little bit further, but they are both very well balanced. And I can tell you that when you get them on your face, you really don't feel much of a difference. Taking a look on the inside, you can also spot another difference with the lenses. Remember, the 3 is the more premium unit, and you can see that with the curved lenses that come in the Oculus 3 versus the more standard lenses that you get in the 3S. Additionally, the 3 has a higher overall resolution, but keep in mind that both are still high definition resolution, and when you get them on your face, it's actually much harder to tell the difference between the two than you may think, especially when playing games that are faster moving. So overall, they definitely share a lot more similarities than they do differences. And I would actually be very interested to try a blind test where you put both of these units one after the other on someone and have them guess which one is which. It's actually in the goggles much more similar than they are different, especially speaking to first time or beginner users. All right, so let's talk about some of the gameplay. And remember, it's not just the headset that's gotten better. We've also seen the game itself, Golf Plus VR, grow by leaps and bounds since our last review just a couple of months back. And as we dig into that gameplay, there's one more thing that we absolutely have to dig into here because I think this one is a non-negotiable, and that would be the controller attachment. One that we've been using for quite some time, and I'm sure you've seen it if you watched our previous videos, is this controller attachment from Deadeye VR. What I love so much about this is that it's weighted just like a golf club. So when you get into that VR world, it really and truly feels like you've got a golf club in your hands. Now, keep in mind, you can play the game without an attachment, but as I said before, this is a real non-negotiable for me because just trying to swing the controllers in your hands does not feel anything like real golf, and it is a night and day difference when you've got something like this. And the good news is this won't add too much to your overall budget. Like I said, I'm trying to be mindful of that. We're trying to do this as inexpensively as possible and leverage that lower price point of the 3S. The good news is there's a lot of options out there. I will link to this one below. This one is the one that I've been using for quite a while and I really enjoy. And the good news is it's not too expensive. Now, like I said, we've done a deep dive in the past and I'll link to some of those videos really showing some of the gameplay and features of Golf Plus. And hands down, one of my absolute favorites is definitely the multiplayer feature, because what this does is it allows you to connect and play golf with anyone who has a headset anywhere in the world. So you can be on opposite sides of the country and throw a foursome together and be out there playing with your buddies, experiencing golf and chatting just like you were on a real golf course. And like any good game, you're going to see consistent improvements over time, and Golf Plus VR is no different. Now in the game, we've got some improved graphics and feedback, and the overall experience just seems to get more and more realistic. But the thing that keeps making Golf Plus VR better and better has been their consistent addition of new and exciting golf courses. What this does is it allows so many of us to play bucket list golf courses that we may never otherwise get to experience in our lifetime. And I think a perfect example of that is the recent addition of Lofton Links. Here you get to experience firsthand one of the world's best and most remote golf courses, and the environment is just something you have to see to believe. You were there playing underneath those northern lights. Like I said, an experience that very few of us get to actually see in the real world. This also goes for other places like Pebble Beach or the old course at St. Andrews, where you get to literally transport yourself to some of the best golf destinations in the world. And for as amazing and realistic as it is to get to play some of these legendary golf courses in VR, the other thing that's really excited me has been the rollout in the Golf Plus VR system of some of their own original golf courses. With these types of courses, the team creating them is really only limited by their imagination. Here, some of these original courses get to create shots that we would not get to experience in real life, with dramatic elevation changes and just stunning visuals in every single direction. These are really immersive worlds that, like I said, get to really let the creativity fly and allow the Golf Plus VR team to create things that we just would not get to experience in real life. So what this does is it creates a really nice balance with the realistic golf courses that are also in the system. So whether you want to play a realistic simulation or you want to get a little bit more creative and play something like you've never seen before, you have both options now in the Golf Plus VR game. So with all that said, which headset should you choose and why? I would say if you are just getting into VR golf for the first time, you want to get in at a lower price point, then you absolutely have to start with the 3S. Like I mentioned before, the difference in performance, especially for the everyday user, is almost hard to detect between these two units, and you're getting it at half the price. And another reason that's important is because I mentioned earlier how much we love the multiplayer. Of course, golf is always best when played with friends. So think of the idea that you could almost get two of the 3S for the price of the 3. So if you've got more than one golfer at home and you want to buy a couple of units, this is definitely the way to go. Who then does that leave the 3 for? I would say for your more serious gamers, for those of you who are looking to get into more than just VR golf and experience some of the other games out there, then you definitely have to give the 3 a look. What you do get with this is more storage space. So if you do have more games saved into your system, this is definitely going to be a benefit for you, as well as the fact that you do have a little bit higher resolution. So in a lot of ways, this kind of future-proofs as the game's resolutions get better and better and more detailed. I think the 3 is gonna be able to handle that for longer. But like I said before, in no way do I wanna call the 3S a slouch. This looks great in this system, and I truly think for 90% of you watching, especially if you're just getting into it, the 3S is the way to go. So like I said, this is super exciting. Now with the release of the 3S, we have the ability to have many more people get in and experience VR golf at a price point that is far more affordable. So I would encourage you, get out there, check it out. Maybe put this one on your holiday shopping list this year. I think it's definitely gonna be a hot item, because I'll tell you one thing for sure. If you're locked in on those cold winters and need to get your golf fix, well, this is definitely a way to do it. Let us know your own thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.